Hello. Thank you for your time and attention here for a few minutes. I guess I wanted to talk today about what is going on in the news, so to speak, that we're constantly hearing about interest rates, and interest rates are higher than they've been in many, many years. And for some people, they've always been low, near zero. But I wanted to talk about how when I first came across this concept, using whole life insurance, the gentleman that introduced me to the concept in a roundabout way said, just look at your mortgage interest. When they tell you that you've got at the time, we had a 3.25 interest rate. He said it's not 3.25. Just do the calculation yourself. You send in $1,000 and only 500, for instance, goes toward the principal. So where does all the other money go? Well, it goes to interest and insurance and other things, taxes. And so when you think about you're getting a particular rate, it's not really the rate, right? I mean, not really. Maybe right down to the very last payment before it actually is the real rate. Because you're paying on top of the compound of the interest, the expense. So it isn't so much, people will say to me, well, what's the rate of return, or what's the interest rate on a loan inside of a policy? And so we're concerned about interest rates when really what we should be thinking about is the volume of interest. In Nelson Nash's book, Becoming Your Own Banker, he mentions that in page 17 and 18, I think it is. That if you figure out your interest rate, you'll discover that you're paying way more than you think. And if you do just say you bought a house and then 5 years later you decided that you were going to sell. Well, when you think about what the interest rate was on that 5 years, you think, well, I'm only paying 4%, 5% at the time. This is previous to interest rates going up. But if you do the math and figure out, what you paid in and what the interest and expense was, it can be shocking. In the example that he uses in page 17, 18, it turns out that it's 86%. So it isn't so much the interest rate that we should be concerned with. It's the volume. You have a car payment, you have a house payment, you have insurance on your house. What do I want to say? Interest on credit cards, any kind of interest that you're paying. It's the volume of interest combined is what really is a big problem. And with the whole life insurance, over time, I'm just looking at some notes here. Over time, because it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, you don't build wealth overnight either, right? You don't put $100 into a 401k and it automatically becomes $1,000. It takes time to build up wealth. But it's the same thing with this. Over time, you begin to control more and more of the interest, cost, and expense. And currently, right now, inside of most life insurance policies, whole life, with a mutual insurance company, most of the interest is below what they're charging you now at a bank for a mortgage, probably. But anyway, as time goes by, which equates to your life insurance policy growing in cash value, which is basically your bank inside of the policy, that you can access So some people will say, well, I just pay cash for everything. And so I just wanted to say that when we pay cash, we do avoid an interest expense, but not an interest cost. And what I mean by that is that there's still a cost to giving up the cash to pay in cash, because that money would have had an excuse me for my little compatriot here. So you would have given away the cash that would have potentially been used for something else to create wealth. So there's a cost to paying in cash, where inside of the policy, when you do take a policy loan, you are taking it against your policy, and you're getting the money from the general fund of the insurance company. And so they are charging you an interest rate, and right now they range anywhere from 5.1 to 8%, depending on the company that you're with. And so over time, you get to control more and more of your cash and the available cash for opportunities, for emergencies that come up, for anything that you decide that you want to spend your money on, your time and energy, which equates into money, right? And so I just want to ask you just to give yourself the time and give yourself the peace and patience, and to just be in the now. Be present. Give yourself the time to build on the trust of what this is. And then to become, as time goes on and you begin to learn more and more, you begin to understand that this is really true. This really does work like this. And once you give yourself permission to say that it is true, then you can teach it to those that you love and care about. And that all takes time. But, the sooner you start, I guess, the better off you'll be. So depending on where you are in your life, it doesn't matter whether you're just getting out of high school or thinking of getting out of high school, all the way up to just getting out of college, or maybe you're in my demographic, in my mid to latter 60s. And even I started a whole life insurance policy because I need a place to store cash. Certainly I have some down at the local bank for our checking account, and we have a little bit of savings in it, but the majority of our savings currently is in our whole life policies. So anyway, to give yourself permission to trust yourself in learning about this. And that's about all I have to say today. I also wanted to say, because I have a couple of books here that remind me of things, but I have a book here that I'm reading. It's called Light and Liberty. It's a reflection on the pursuit of happiness, essays from Thomas Jefferson. And as you may well know, Thomas Jefferson was our third president of the United States, and he likened himself to be a farmer and said that he would never change that while he was in office, that he thought of himself as a farmer. But he was really, he was contemporary of Ben Franklin, and they really wanted the best for this country, and they never wanted us to go into the kind of debt that we are in. Both as a country and individually, they did not believe that people should be going into debt. You should control your assets. You should control your money and watch it carefully. So anyway, I just wanted to share that book with you. It's a great book. It's you can find it on Amazon. So if you could please like this if you did like it, and share it if you believe it's worthwhile to share. That would be very helpful. And it's more about sharing and teaching others about this very little known product. Anyway, so if you have any questions, please do reach out to me. And I wish you a great day. Thank you.